We'll start with the disclaimer then. So if you have time, please take a read through this. So Skyharbour Resources, I'm Jordan Trimble. I'm the president and CEO for those of you who do not know me. Skyharbour is a high-grade uranium exploration, early-stage development company. All of our projects are in the Athabasca Basin. So we now have 15 projects totaling over 1.1 million acres. One of the largest landholders in the region. We have projects that range from, let me just get you to something a little prettier than this here. Hold on, there we go. We have projects ranging from more advanced stage exploration assets. Primarily, these are our two core projects, Russell Lake and Moore Lake, as well as South Falcon Point, which we've recently optioned. Really, Russell and Moore are those two primary projects that we're going to be focused on. And then we've got earlier stage projects that we consider to be secondary or tertiary projects, and those really comprise our prospect generator business. So for those of you that are familiar with Skyharbour, we have a hybrid model. We are a high-grade exploration and discovery story, again, very much focused on our core projects at Russell and Moore. We're going to be commencing our largest drill campaign ever carried out by the company, 10,000 meters. Will commence here shortly. Most of that at Russell, some of that at Moore Lake. That'll be over the next 8 to 10 months, fully funded for that. But we also have, as our second part of the business, prospect generation. We've been very active growing this part of the business over the last several years. Just in the last 13 months, we brought in 4 new option partners. Most recently, we announced our largest option deal to date at our South Falcon East project, a portion of the broader South Falcon project. The deal is $10.5 million in exploration expenditures, $4.6 million in cash payments to Skyharbour over a 5-year period, and $7 million in share issuances. So we've now, if you look at combined, we have 7 partner companies. We have option agreements that total over $70 million now in exploration expenditures, cash payments, and share issuances from these various partner companies. So really what we're trying to do is be the one-stop shop for high-grade uranium exploration and discovery in the Athabasca Basin across a diversified asset base with numerous operators, and the bulk of that being funded by partner companies. So we keep our dilution down and we stay focused at our core projects. So I'll move on to the management team. Again, I think most of you are familiar with us in our group. So I've been running the company since day one. We started this 10 years ago, a contrarian opportunity in the uranium sector, post-Fukushima. There were new discoveries being made. We've heard a lot here today about some of the science behind these discoveries. It's not just voodoo magic. There's a lot that goes in to the exploration, the planning, the drilling. And there was a lot that was happening in 2013 and 2014 in particular when we started Skyharbour on the west side of the basin with NextGen and Fission. So really 2 unique opportunities, a contrarian macro opportunity and then a specific exploration, new exploration techniques being utilized to make new discoveries in the basin. So that's when we started it. So I come from more of a finance and entrepreneurial background, starting the company with my chairman, Jim Pettit. We built and sold a gold company called Bayfield Ventures, and when we sold that, we started Skyharbour. Dave Cates is the president and CEO of Denison Mines. He's been a very active director for Skyharbour. He's a large personal shareholder. Denison has been a large corporate strategic shareholder for Skyharbour, for the last 5.5, 6 years. You'll see next slide here. Joe Gallucci brings a lot of capital markets experience to our board. He's the head banker now at Laurentian Bank, joined us 2.5 years ago. Our geological team, very much built for exploration and discovery in the basin. Dave Bayard, head consulting geologist. We've been looking for uranium now for almost 40 years. He was ex-Cameco. He sold a company called J&R. Christine McKechnie, who's now our senior project geologist, really helping to oversee everything that we do in the field, wrote her award-winning thesis on one of our resources, the Fraser Lake Zone B deposit at the South Falcon Point project. So really has an intimate knowledge of our asset base. And then just rounding out the team, Paul Matizik, an advisor, joined us back in 2016, built and sold 6 mining companies. That's, again, what we're working towards at Skyharbour. And then more recently, Andrew Ramcharan, who joined us as our Senior VP of Corporate Development, brings over 20 years of experience in the mining industry, previously at IAM Gold, SRK, and Sprott. So a great mix of a good combination of focused uranium exploration expertise in the basin, coupled with strong management and capital markets experience at the board and at the management level. Capital structure, 145 million shares issued and outstanding, trade between in the high 30s, low 40s, so it's about a 50 to 60 million dollar Canadian market cap. We just uplisted to the OTCQX from the QB. We've had a lot of U.S. interest in a number of larger shareholders that have come in from the U.S. over the last few years. And then you'll see well-funded, over 7 million in the treasury. 3.5 of that, half of that being flow through that we just raised in the summer months, 2 funds that came in. So that funds the 10,000 meters of drilling that we have planned at Russell and at Moore. Most of that drilling will be at Russell as per the earn-in agreement we have with Rio Tinto there. But we're well funded. And just a note on that, as a part of our prospect generator business, we have in the next 12 months about $3 million coming in, $3 million coming in cash and stock from these partner companies, as well as over $5 million in exploration expenditures that they'll be funding. I'll talk a bit more about the prospect generator business later on. Just wrapping up on this slide with some of the notable and strategic shareholders. So we've really diversified our shareholder base from a predominantly retail shareholder base 3.5, 4 years ago to one that has some corporates, that has more institutional shareholding, and you'll see their management insiders at the top there. We continue to add to our positions. You can see I've been actively purchasing shares in the open market over the last year, especially on pullbacks. I think the value proposition at the current price, given the broader market choppiness, I think this is the best value proposition this company has ever offered. Period, end of story. And I'm putting my money where my mouth is. Denison Mines and Rio, large corporate shareholders, Rio now a new shareholder and potential project partner at Russell Lake. We're in both of the uranium mining ETFs, so the Sprott ETF as well as the Global X ETF, and you'll see some notable funds, most of which are uranium-centric funds that are large shareholders as well. I won't spend much time on this. We've probably gone through this at length here, but just a couple of kind of key takeaway points. Needless to say, we're very bullish on this sector. I think I'm the bullish I've ever been. Having been doing this now for almost a decade, I can confidently say I am the most bullish right now about uranium over the next 12 months that I've ever been. We have major macro trends that are working in our favor. Uranium and the nuclear industry really underpinning a number of these, including electrification, decarbonization and clean energy, and then more recently we're really starting to see nuclear's role in energy security, energy independence, as we're seeing energy crises play out globally right now. So this industry, I think, is right at the precipice of a major breakout. I think the uranium price in the next 12 to 18 months is going to be much, much higher. And as one of the few active uranium exploration companies that's been around for a while, we will benefit along with our peers and along with other companies. I think that's another important point. This is not a crowded industry. We've seen previous cycles where you have hundreds of uranium names. Companies change their name, put uranium in the title, and the stock takes off. We're not there yet at all. We're still at $50 a pound uranium as well, and there's a lot of runway from $50, especially with recent cost inflation in the industry. And then just quickly, this slide here, I'll just a couple notes. So you can see the supply demand. Again, I know this has been talked about, but we have 190 to 200 million pounds of annual demand, and that's in the backdrop of primary mine supply of about 140 to 145 million pounds. We're just not making enough. And now that we're seeing this market bifurcate east versus west, the Western utilities in particular are going to be in a world of hurt if they aren't able to start sourcing more material from domestic and Western suppliers. So let's move on to the project base here. You'll see our 15 projects now, over 1.1 million acres of property. That's great. It's nice to have a big land package, but we are actively out there optioning, joint venturing projects out. This has, again, become a bigger part of our day-to-day business. So you'll see here the 2 core projects, Russell Lake. This is a deal we announced in the summer. It took us a while to get this done with Rio Tinto. This is an advanced stage exploration project wedged between the McArthur River mine to the north, the Key Lake mill to the south, our existing flagship at Moore Lake to the east and Denison's Wheeler River project to the west. The road that services the MacArthur River mine runs up, traverses the western claims of this property. There's power lines that go through the project. And most importantly, it comes with a 40-person exploration camp. So there's a lot of synergistic value and strategic value in this property, in our portfolio. It's actually we're expecting it to bring our drill costs down at the adjacent Moore Lake, because we can service the Maverick corridor from that project via winter roads. So a big deal that was announced for us in the summer months. Again, like I said, 10,000 meters that we're planning there. Moore Lake, the adjacent project, most of you that follow the story would know Moore well, project that we started working on in 2017. We own 100% of it. High-grade uranium mineralization at the Maverick corridor. So this is a 5-kilometer long conductive uraniferous corridor. We've had drill results as high as 21% U3O8 within 6% over 6 meters. More recently, we've been looking a little bit deeper into the underlying basement rocks. It's been poorly tested historically. So we've been having some success in the last couple of years drilling into these feeder zones, including our best drill result, which we announced last year in the basement rocks. It was a 7% U3O8 zone over 2 meters. We think there's a lot more to be found at Moore. So we will continue drilling there in conjunction with the exploration and the drilling at Russell Lake. But really, Russell is where we're going to be focused over the next 12 months. We have an earn-in with Rio Tinto. We can acquire an initial 51% by spending just over 5 million Canadian over the next 2.5 years. We'll get about 3 to 3.5 million of that complete here in the next 8 to 10 months. And then we do have a pathway to get to 100%, 70 and then 100% at the project. So those two core projects, again, right in the heart of the eastern side of the Athabasca Basin, both host historical high-grade mineralization in previous drilling, and we feel that both of these projects there's a lot left there. There's a lot of meat left on the bone in that, with additional drilling and larger programs than we've historically carried out. This 10,000 meter program really representing the first major drill program that we're going to carry out in a shorter time frame. We think we can deliver new high-grade discoveries at these two core projects. Moving on to the other dozen or so projects, I'll just wrap up here with this slide that shows the prospect generation business that we're building here. So you'll see here 7 partner companies now. So we've got 2 joint ventures, one of which Orano is now 51% owner at our Preston project. Azincourt Energy, I'm sure some of you are familiar with Azincourt. They've been doing a fantastic job advancing the East Preston project. They now own 70% of that. And then we have 3 active earn-in option partners. So Valor Resources at Hook Lake, ASX-listed company, did a first inaugural drill program at that project since taking that on in late 2020. They have plans to continue drilling and exploring there in 2023. Basin Uranium Corp, a deal we announced just over a year ago at Man Lake. They just wrapped up a few thousand meters of drilling. They've just commenced a phase 2 program that'll be 3,000 to 4,000 meters. Results to come out probably early in the new year. Madero Mining at our Yurchison project. They haven't yet broken ground yet with the drill bit, but they will be in 2023. At least that's the plan. And then just recently, in the last month or so here, we've announced 2 new partner companies. Both of these are subject to the ASX and or TSXV approval, but as per the terms that we've agreed to, you'll see there Yellow Rock's coming into 2 properties that we have, the Wally and Usam projects in the northeast quadrant of the basin, and then Tisdale Clean Energy, as I mentioned. This really was a blockbuster deal, if you will, as far as our prospect generation business is concerned. It's really the biggest spend, significant amount of cash and stock being issued by Tisdale. And this project, the South Falcon East project, is host to a small deposit near surface, the Fraser Lake Zone B deposit. So we really wanted to see a serious amount of money being invested into this project by a partner company that we know is capable, and get cash and stock so we can crystallize value while retaining upside with the 25% minority interest at the end of the day, assuming they earn in. So just to wrap up with this slide here, You'll see the total amounts at the bottom. This is noteworthy now. We've got well over $70 million in option agreements from the various expenditures, cash payments, and share issuances, about half of that in exploration and the other half in cash and stock. And so, as I said earlier, we're really trying to build this company up to be that one-stop shop for high-grade uranium exploration in the basin. We're going to have 6 of these companies actively exploring and drilling in the new year to couple and to go with our drilling at Moore Lake and at Russell Lake. So we are expecting between 25 to 35,000 meters, most of that being funded by these partner companies. This will be our single busiest, most active drill campaign ever as a company, and we'll have some more news out on the specifics of that in the coming weeks here.